Good morning, everyone. Today you will see the trail terrain on the section from Three Forks to Hightower Gap. And for 2018, we finally get our new tent, the Big Agnes Flycreek UL. And Arnie's going to see if she can put it up by herself.
Well, the good news is the first part of this trail is not rocks, steps, and roots. Even though it's going uphill pretty continuously, at least it's a smooth trail. Every now and then, stop and look up. That must be east. A little bit of color changing going on. Beginnings of it. Now that fallen tree across the tail was actually useful. We each took a little rest here, got the weight of our packs off our shoulders for a few minutes, and how you doing there, G?
I'm feeling pretty good now.
He said he feels pretty good now. I hope that stream is coming through. The junction, Long Creek Falls off here to our left. Benton Mackay there in the center. And the AT off to the right. Stream. What do you think of this?
Beautiful.
Not a real high falls, but it sure is pretty. They say that pool's deep enough to swim in, but it's a little chilly today, and I doubt either one of us is going to want to take them up on that. And great place to get water. Shadulov says she enjoyed lunch, and of course she wants her picture next to the waterfalls. She's having a great time. Misses her buddies. And we're continuing on from Long Creek Falls up toward, hoping to make it to Hawk Mountain Shelter. Still going uphill. And end up going much further than we had originally planned, so that's a good thing. I thought that was a pretty little tree. Got the fall colors. Haven't seen any wildlife, and it's really pretty quiet out here. But it is beautiful. The sun's coming at us. It's still comfortable. Get a little warm while you're hiking, not too bad. Which way to go? No white blazes. Time to pull out the gut hooks app and let it tell us. Thank goodness for gut hooks. Looks like we picked the right way, and we've come to the road that will take a person to the Hickory Flats Cemetery if they want to go there. It's about a quarter mile, which means a quarter mile back, which means a half mile more on our day, and we don't have time today. Would be nice to see a white blaze, seeing as how we now have two choices. Apparently used to be a school. And this is the AT. There's our trusty little blaze. Onward and upward. How you feeling, G?
I'm a little tired. We covered a good bit of ground today, a lot of height. Feel good about it.
Good. And that man up there has climbed a total of about 1,000 feet in elevation today. Finally now we're on the downhill till we get to our campsite, but it is pretty amazing. When you understand his history and his health issues, quite inspirational. And we have made it to the Hawk Mountain campsite. Glad to be here. Looks like we got a little walk down this side trail. Supposed to be some water down there and a privy. So we're gonna go have a look at it. Headed down to the Hawk Mountain campsite. It'd be nice if they had it right on, right off the trail, a little closer, but hey, we're not complaining. Bear boxes, privy, luxuries out here. Downhill, downhill, downhill. Only problem with that is tomorrow morning it'll be uphill, uphill, uphill. Looks like I see the bear box ahead. Finally. Tent pad up above. Looks like it's just waiting for us. So we won't have to throw a rock over a tree tonight. And just a few more yards down the road, the lovely privy. Which way are we looking, G? So we're going to have a sunrise over here tomorrow. Through the trees. How cool is that? Morning in the forest. Our bear box and our little big tent. We very comfortable last night. All right, we're all packed up. We've left our Hawk Mountain campsite. We're headed up the trail, 120 feet of elevation that we went down to get to our campsite. So it was worth it. That campsite was right there at the bear box and handy little privy, but tough start to the morning when we were hoping this day would be mostly downhill. But anyway, we're fine, and G's way up there ahead of me, so I guess I better go and catch up. So we're walking along the trail, and we see this huge tree with this big hole cut in it. G thinks it's big enough for a bear hole. Maybe that's where they go into semi-hibernate, which they do apparently out in this area of the country. And we're not sure what kind of tree it is. Anyway, just off the trail. So, Mr. G, how are you today?
Feeling strong, feeling pretty good.
Good.
Good to be out in the woods. Cool breeze, moderate temp. Good day to hike. Plus it's downhill.
Yes. So we are headed down to Hightower Gap, and we're doing 300 feet down in a half a mile. And picture doesn't really do it justice. Drop off on the left, and looks like we're going to have a few rocks in this particular episode, but looks like he's got it under control, so hopefully I can follow suit. It's a beautiful day. Are we there yet?
Oh, just another tent there, Nanu.
Huh.
Maybe a little more.
Okay, this is level. so you can maybe get a little bit of an idea. And of course, after they take you down a few feet, then they got to take you up a few feet so they can take you down a few feet again. Really is beautiful out here, though. It's so much fun. We are really enjoying ourselves. Those ferns, it's not really showing them, they're golden. And I was wondering, I've only ever seen ferns that stay green. Is there a fern that turns gold in the winter? This is coloring them kind of a greenish, but they're actually really gold. Very pretty.
Well, that showed Three Forks to Hightower Gap. And the main thing to keep in mind with these videos is that we are brand new hikers. I mean, this is our 5th hiking day of our lives on two people who were in terrible shape physically, just not the best ideal situation for going out. But again, our reason for going and doing that was for health, and mainly for G's health. And the best thing we could do is just get him out there and get started. And being an athlete all of my life, even though I've been pretty much doing nothing for the past 6 years prior to us doing this, I really didn't expect it to take me that long, as long as it has, to kind of get in better shape. But you know, you just don't realize that once you pass 60, everything changes, especially when you're sedentary for a long time. And so I have learned, I've accepted that fact. It takes a long time, and so thinking about what we're going to do for next year, I'm approaching it like an athletic season. Played tennis most of my life, and with tennis, you do play every day, 4 or 5 days straight, then you have a few days off, then you play 4 or 5 days straight again, have a few days off, or you're practicing every day except maybe one during the week and maybe 6 hours a day. And I'm having the same issues here as I did then. I have some issues with keeping my feet from breaking down, and of course knee issues, and then the back issues. That is a new thing, but it's really been less of a problem, especially now that I've got the backpack dialed down. It's less of a problem. The feet and the knees are the two issues that I'm especially having to work on, to do some things to make sure that they are not gonna make me end up having to stop. So in addition to that, just desperately need more muscle strength. And developing new muscle is so much different now than it was when I was 40 years old. Unbelievable how different it is. So it's a major challenge, but I'm going after it full force, and looking at this with the seriousness of, okay, how can I do this and keep going forward and not have to take 2 days off every 3 days, or a day off after every 2 days, which is kind of what we had to do last year, just for G especially, which is why we're doing it the way we are. He can't hike every day. It's just physically, medically not possible for him to do that. So we thought about me maybe doing the through hike, and how could we do it so that we could still be together. So it's going to be still a little bit of a logistical issue, but that's what we want to try to do. So from my standpoint, strictly from my standpoint, it is get physically ready to do a through hike. And because we've had the 280 miles that I have had 280 miles of hiking, I've seen that right now, at the best, I did 13 miles in a day in a reasonable amount of time. You know, left about 8, got in by 4 or 4:30. And if I did that with as little work as I actually did for that situation, then I feel pretty confident that I can get up higher than that. So that's the plan. Anyway, the hike from Three Forks to Hightower, given our physical situation, was a little bit tough for us, but the terrain on the trail was really nice. There were a few things that you saw in the videos, but for the most part, compared to a lot of things that we saw just in the 300 miles we did, you know, that was pretty easy terrain. So there were a few fairly steep uphills for being new in the first, 30 miles of the trail. There were a few of the uphills that were just a little bit tough. But overall, I mean, it was not a real exciting hike other than the waterfalls were really pretty, and it was all pretty, but nothing too spectacular in that. And it was pretty short distance, so all of ours are going to be pretty short distance, and you can see what the terrain is, and for you it may be a 2-hour part of your hike, but you'll know for that 2 hours what kind of terrain you're going to face, because I've pretty much got videos of all of it. So hopefully it'll be a little bit of help to somebody, and if not, when I'm 90, I'll lay in the bed and watch these videos and get a real chuckle out of them. Anyway, the tent. You saw that huge tent, and yes, it was big, and yes, it was heavy. It weighed 8 pounds, but remember that was for 2 people, so that's basically 4 pounds a piece. Still too much weight, but at least, it's not an 8-pound tent for a single person. Anyway, so we have gotten the big Agnes Flycreek UL3 so that the both of us can stay in it. G's shoulders are very broad. There's no way we could use a 2. And I apologize for the camera work. I wanted to show putting it together for the first time. And if I wasn't trying to show the first time, then I would go ahead and redo it so that the camera was positioned better. But then you'll see me putting it together for the second time. So I'm going to go ahead and just show putting it together for the first time and then taking it apart. So this one's 3.5 pounds, and but that does not include the ground cover. I haven't put these together yet, so let's just see what happens. And my head's probably going to be cut off, but that's okay. And this is a little different than the Marmot, so see if I can figure it out. the stake is pulled out here, it helps pull out the back though. And then this will be pulled out, and there it is. Well, I am sorry for the poor camera work when where I set it to, you know, a lot of stuff wasn't seen. I am going to put it together outside. I'll probably video that and be able to do it from a bigger distance, so that'll be better. For now, I'm going to go ahead and take this down, see how easy it is to take down. And I guess that's all there is to that. So I think we're going to like this tent. And then I didn't mention earlier, but we do have this guy line, and then they have the tighteners on them. So for windy conditions or stormy conditions, we've got these extra guy lines here in the front and one over here, and 13 stakes come with this. And then there's a guy line here. So let's take it down, and that'll be that. Stuff into the bag, and a lot of people have talked about how that just stuffing it into the bag can help prevent creases rather than folding. So that makes good sense to me. First thing I would do before I started taking it down is I would go around and pick up every single stake and count them. I have learned that. And that way you don't ever miss one. Start and don't stop until all stakes that you used were picked up. So I will stuff this. I'll stuff this down in the bag first, then I'll stuff, if it's dry, I'll stuff it in the fly, and then I'll stuff in, not this one, but the ground sheet that I get, or make out of tie bag, which I'm going to try to figure out a way to put some grommets on and have it just inside the bathtub, or a little bit inside of it, and be able to clip onto the poles to do a dry setup. Let's get the poles. There we have it. We'll put it down in its sack and be good to go for the next time. Thanks for watching. So, everybody have a blessed day.